Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video on Le Mans Ultimate. In today's video we are at Silverstone in a multi-class race with LMP3 and GT3. We're starting the race from the front of the grid, and unfortunately for us we have a little bit of a racing incident, which means we're going to have to fight our way back through the field. So if you do enjoy this video, do give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comment section what you think about this week's races on Le Mans Ultimate, what you thought about this race. Definitely an enjoyable one with the mixture between LMP3 and GT3, but yeah, there is going to be a high chance of chaos, especially at the start with the LMP3s really struggling for their grip. But let's get into this and get on with the race. Okay, so as you can see, we are starting from P4 at Silverstone in this multi-class race. We're in the BMW, we've got a Ferrari and McLaren in front of us and a Mercedes at the side of us. So let's go straight into the action as the race is about to go green and get underway with the intense rolling start on this game. So we get a really nice start. The BMW is really quick on the acceleration of a rolling start. You can see how we gain on the Ferrari. Now I have a little look down the left here, but decided to back out of that. Bit too risky to go for that. We did have a bit of an overdrive, but it would have been on the grass, so backed out. However, the cars in front getting a little bit clogged up together. They get really bad exits, and we get a really nice run down the inside, giving us the inside line into this second corner here. However, we get tagged from behind, and we are spinning. It looks like an unfortunate racing incident, and unfortunately for us, we are all the way back down now into P19. So this is not an ideal start, and also the tyres would have took a little bit of a hammering from that slide as well. So let's have a little look, see what happened there at the start, and I think you'll see it was just an accident by one of the GT3 drivers, just not realising the space he had. As we went into the corner, we had the overdrive on the inside line, and he actually brakes early to back out, and unfortunately he tries to turn in, but he tries to go in behind myself, but turns in a little bit too early, tags the back of my car, which obviously sends my car sideways, and then that pushes me into the line of the other GT3. Nothing we can do there. Obviously the Ferrari just misjudged the gap, and that meant we were spinning and absolutely cooking our tyres. You can actually see how much we've cooked the tyres there with that slide. So not done the tyres any good. However, I don't think there was any deliberate action from the Ferrari, just rather unfortunate that we get punished and he's obviously managed to carry on in the race towards the front there. So we're back in the race here. You can see we're up to 18th. I think there was a car off the track here, and it had already pretty much give us a position. I think you can see that it doesn't change from 18th, so I think it's as if that car had gone back to the pits or something. But you can see we've got LMP3s driving around here, and they're struggling for grip, and you can see another LMP3 off the track there. And then as we come through this corner here, you can see the LMP3 in front of us has no rear spoiler. Luckily for us, we get off the track, and you can see we actually got a track limit violation there, but at least we don't get a penalty on this game. You go off the track to avoid an incident, you're not going to get a track limit penalty. So there is that advantage in having the system like this. And we have a little bit more chaos going on in front of us there. GT3 off the track, looks like some sort of racing incident going on there, possibly with the Lexus in front of us. So we're up to P17 in this race. So as usual, a little bit of drama on lap 1, and now we've just got to try and fight our way through the field and see if we can recover something from this race. Whenever this happens, it is all about the recovery drive, just trying to get back as many positions as you can and try and rescue some of your DR, as you're normally going to lose a little bit in a race like this. You can see the Lexus in front of us seems to be a little bit struggling on these corners, so we're going to try and take that tight line, get a much better exit than him, and you can see there we've got much better drive coming out the corner, and we're going to put ourselves up into P16. So we make the move before the corner, so we're going to go back over to the racing line, and then he actually has a little look up the inside here. I think that was a little bit optimistic for that corner there. He was a bit too far back, so yeah, I'm not sure that was ever going to work, but we carry on in P16, and now we move forward a little bit further on in the race there. You can see they're midway through lap 2, and we got the LMP3s coming through that have obviously spun at the start of the race, so they're going to go off into the GT3s in front of us and cause hopefully a little bit of drama. So luckily for them though, he doesn't seem to attack too much into these corners, and you can see he's being quite patient there, but we are catching them GT3 drivers up quite fast. And then we come on to the acceleration zone. Now, as the LMP3 driver overtakes the Porsche, I'm not sure if he just misjudges the space, but he actually turns right and gives him a little bit of a tap there on the side of him. You can see a little bit of a tap as he goes through. And then in the braking phase, I think the Porsche gets a little bit worried about him, and backs out, but then the LMP cuts right across the Porsche's front end. This is all helping us out, but you can see really slow on the throttle as well, the LMP3, which again gives me the ability to get right up behind. You can see the Porsche goes a little bit wide there, gets onto the gravel. That gives us a chance now to again go for another move before turn 1. You can see we've got that inside line. We can now send it up the inside down to 3rd gear, keep that tight line, and then get back on the throttle in 3rd gear and take that position up into P14. So couple of positions gained so far in the first few laps. It's going okay, this recovery so far. We just got to keep going, as now we're behind the Ferrari, who's extremely slow through there. I had to really get the anchors on and slow down where I wasn't expecting to brake. So hopefully, if he's taking that kind of speed through some of the corners, hopefully we'll be able to get past quicker rather than later. And as you can see there, we do actually manage to get past. Now we've got an LMP3 driver with engine damage in front of us. You can see the smoke coming out the back of his car. He will not be lasting too much longer in this race, I presume, because he's got smoke coming out the rear of the car. Whenever he's on throttle, you can see the smoke coming out. So he's obviously got some form of engine damage going on there, so he won't be lasting too much longer. So into P12, and then as we skip a little bit further here, you can see that LMP3 with the engine damage gives a little bit of a tap to the Aston Martin. That gives us a chance to go down the inside, get into the inside before this left-hand corner, and that's going to give us the chance to go up into P11. You can see the Aston Martin there just backed out of it, because once you're on the outside there, you don't really want to be pushing side by side through that corner. You see, I'm not sure if the LMP3 driver in front of me knew that I was saying about the engine damage, because when I mentioned it, he started to weave. So not sure about that one, but yeah, I can't believe he's going to be lasting much longer in this race. So into P11, and as we come over the pit lane here now at the start straight, you can see there's a driver in the pits. Now what the strategy he's going for is pit lap 4 and then put maximum fuel, so he's probably started with maximum, use 4 laps of fuel, then refuel to 100%, and then hopefully get some clean air so he doesn't get into traffic. So I presume he was getting a little bit held up. So we go up a position with that and into the top 10. But by the time we get to lap 6 now, we've managed to catch up to another car, and now we can try and go on the attack again here on lap 6 and get a position. You can see gaining through that corner, gaining a little bit more through T1. And now we're going through this really fast flowing section where we can hopefully gain a little bit more time. Using the curbs for a bit of rotation. Again, getting as close to the curb there, but got a little bit of understeer following behind. Maybe a little bit of dirty air from the car in front. And now just getting on that throttle as early as possible. And again, looks like we're going to be able to go for another move here. So getting the slipstream. And you can see he doesn't actually defend really here. He just holds the normal line. I think he could see that we were gaining quite fast and didn't really want to put too much of a fight up there. I think he was just quite acceptant that it was going to be an overtake, and it's better not to fight sometimes and just, you know, not lose time yourself trying to be overly defensive. So up into P9 now, and we're now going after the Mercedes that you can just about see in front of us there. So it's just a case of getting up to him as soon as possible and trying to get past him as soon as possible. So far the recovery drive has gone pretty well. It's a 16 lap race. We're on lap 6. Now on lap 7, and we've got an LMP3 car coming through here now on the inside before the really fast corners. Now as we come through here, you can see I just back off a little bit because I can see that LMP3 is going to go aggressive. And then as we turn right here, we can't really see the LMP3, and then suddenly he is spinning right in front of us. Now we had to get on the brakes really quick there. Luckily I saw it in time, got on the brakes, avoided the contact, stayed out of trouble, but we did lose a little bit of time to the Mercedes, so we had to catch that back up. And you can see by the time we get to lap 8 here, we have managed to catch right back up to that AMG GT3, who gets a really poor exit off the corner. Got on the throttle a little bit too early there. That gave him a really bad exit. So again, we're going to get into the slipstream of the AMG and look down the left-hand side, and this should be a fairly comfortable move because he doesn't seem to be defending it. So we'll just brake a little bit later, use that second gear for the rotation, and then just get on that throttle and hold the position. So we did get a little bit of damage at the start of the race. However, it doesn't seem to be losing some massive amount. I think it was just a couple of attempts a lap maybe, looking at what our pace was versus previous races that we were doing when we were in clean air. So yeah, a couple of attempts, 3 attempts maybe a lap we were losing. But again, we've managed to catch back up to P7 now in the race on lap 11. Now at this stage you can see I put my fuel up to 5 laps because the plan was to put the fuel up to 5 and pit lap 11 instead of lap 12, because I was thinking that we were going to get a little bit held up by this BMW because he seemed to be a little bit defensive in his driving. So you can see again through here we're clearly a lot quicker there, and again we're going to get a run off the exit, and again we're going to have a little look down the right hand side. He's kind of defended but then kind of backed out of the defense. I think he can see that I've got the tiniest little bit of overlap. So we're going to go for this move down the inside, brake a little bit later, and you can see we're going to use that gear shift to rotate it in. So he actually didn't put too much of a fight up there. So up into P7. So far in this race, a really good recovery. And you can see as soon as I got the overtake done, I decided to put the fuel back down to 4 so that we can go with the lighter car and get the extra lap done with the lighter fuel. So as we come to lap 12 now, this is the pit stop stage. So all we've got to do is just try and make sure we get into the pit stop nice and cleanly. So nice tight line here, and then enter the pit lane as aggressively as we can, really, because we know that we don't want to get undercut by people. We saw the car that pitted lap 4, so we want to get a good pit lane entry. Didn't take too many risks there, and we actually make it in nice and smooth. Now, unfortunately, that wasn't the case all the time, as you're about to see now. On a previous race, we went into the pits too aggressive, and yeah, rather amusing. But this time, not going to happen. We actually get a nice smooth entry into the pits there, and you know, hit our markers pretty much dead on, and we're out the pits in P9. However, we're not technically in P9 because you can see a lot of the cars at the front haven't pitted yet. There is some cars there that look very, very low on their virtual energy as well. Remember, this race is running a ×2 multiplier on the fuel, so the guy in P7 is looking very, very at risk of getting a drive-through or some form of penalty. So the LMP3 is going to go through here. We're not going to fight that. We're not going to defend it. We're just going to obviously let him go because he's in the faster car, and we don't want to lose time. So just lift a little bit, let him tuck in, and you can see by the time we get to the end of lap 13, as predicted, P7 has got himself a lovely stop and go penalty there. So his race is pretty much screwed with that because he's got to sit in the pit box for I think it's 60 seconds or more while he takes that penalty. And now we're up into P5 as we're on lap 14. So managed to gain quite a few positions here, and we are catching up to P4 in the Porsche. So if we can manage to get back to P4, that'd be a brilliant recovery. We're 2.7 seconds behind him on this point of the lap on lap 14. So let's see how much we can gain. And you can see by the time we get to lap 15, we've actually got that gap down to 0.7 seconds. So we're pushing hard. We're trying to catch up. Obviously, the car is not in a perfect condition with the tyre wear we lost at the start, because by the end of the race, that tyre wear is kicking in a little bit. And also, we do have a tiny little bit of damage, but the car is actually still driving reasonably light, reasonably nice. I think probably because when we slid, the tyre wear was quite even what it took off of each tyre. It wasn't like more the rear than the front. So the car was actually driving quite balanced still. So again, trying to get a good exit off this final corner. You can see taking that tight line, getting into the slipstream of the Porsche, and seeing if we can get close enough for an overtake before turn 1. But you can see here, there is no possibility of that overtake going into turn 1. So let's see if we can get a good drive out of turn 1, and then maybe have a little look before we go into the fast flowing section. Again, he's done that corner pretty well. He's used all the track limits there. We could have used a little bit more, but the main thing is to try and get close to him for the next straight. That's where we've got most of our overtakes on so far in this race. So again, using the curb, get it rotated up onto the curb there, using third gear to try and bite it in, and then again onto the throttle nice and early here. We got a nice bit of drive, a little bit of rear losing control a bit there, a little bit of traction control kicking in, but we've got a nice run. Can we go for a move? So we're going to try the key fake special. So go to the left, fake it back down the inside, and you can see we've managed to get ourselves nicely up the inside using second gear to rotate it, and a nice move there up into P4. So nicely done, a great recovery drive. And yeah, I have to say, sometimes when you pleb something in a race, sometimes the recovery drive is more rewarding than just starting P4 and finishing P3. It's actually really rewarding. As we, again, there had the LMP3 behind us. I was a little bit concerned that he was going to go for that move into that corner when he wasn't fighting anyone, but luckily he backed out and played it smart, and then we let him through into the high-speed right-hand corner. So from here, we're able to just control it now and get it to the finishing line. And you can see as we come to the finishing line, we're still in P4. So a pretty nice recovery. Now, if you did enjoy that drive, if you did enjoy that race, hit that like button, subscribe. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about the racing, and obviously what you think about this race in general, because I think it's quite a good race on Le Mans Ultimate this week.